What is up, everyone? We are back. Why? To discuss more of the Snyder Cut, because we clearly didn't have enough time to talk about the things we needed to talk about. Plus, we've had requests to come back, and by requests, I mean one person, to come back and discuss what's happening next. And that's what this episode is. It's what the hell would have happened next? And maybe could potentially actually happen next. But for right now, it's what would have happened next, because I don't think we're getting any more of Mr. Snidey. So,
Not if HBO
what
has
is up?
their way.
It's press play again. That's us. We're coming in hot every week, so you can always catch this show. I'm Bailey, your host, and joining me as always, Omar Zaki and Matthew Austin.
Hello, people.
I'm glad y'all did the exact same thing. Y'all both were just like,
Oh, wait, we
"Sup?"
did?
Yeah, y'all both went boom,
Oh, wow.
boom,
We
and like
did.
I didn't even see.
simultaneously. It
Wow,
was
I have
great.
another tab open. That's crazy.
It's cute. No, you guys, y'all just have like the same brain. It just mushes together, I feel.
I do feel like sometimes I only have half a brain and somebody else has the other half.
Oh,
Could be
it's like
you.
those little heart locket
Oh, wait, Bailey, look.
necklaces. Oh my God, y'all are both. They got, okay, any of the people watching this instead of listening, they both bought those shirts at the same time. Omar has a Cap shirt and Matt has an Iron Man shirt, and
It's very
both
off-brand
not
for
on
this
brand
episode.
with what we're talking about. I have a Smash Brothers shirt.
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, that's Super
So-
Mario Bros.
Oh yeah, I said Smash, my bad. Look, it has all the characters. Look at that.
Look at them.
We're all representing. We're all representing. So yeah, what's up? We're here to do this. Before I get into this entire conversation, because I have so many thoughts on stuff about this, I'm gonna get through the rigmarole of the boring things, and that is where you can find us on social media. But you should, because we don't post boring things, even though sometimes other people can. We don't. So you can find that on Twitter at Again Press and Instagram at Press Play Again. And if you want to listen to us instead of watching us, you can also do that on podcast services, which would include Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and most importantly, Apple Podcasts. Sometimes I forget exactly what we're on, so I have to look at a list. But on Apple Podcasts, if you want to shoot us a 5-star review and you want to tell us how great we are, please do so. We'll always appreciate it. And then also to remind everyone, on Tuesdays now, we're doing our Falcon and Winter Soldier discussions. Our Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know, because I always have to make the names dumb.
These are getting worse. I thought maybe we could do
slowly gets worse.
Falcon in the Winter podcast. You know, like that's just easy, rolls off
That
the
makes
tongue.
me think it's gonna be winter soon, but it's obviously not, because it's
Define soon.
month,
Because
March.
winter
couldn't
will
even
come back around.
But
It
yeah, we
always
got those
does.
coming out. We got those coming out on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So you can always listen to that. We discuss so much of the episodes. We go through each episode, but we also talk about what could potentially be coming in the MCU, because we like to pretend that we know what's going to happen, even though we clearly don't. And then next Friday, coming in hot, we got Kong versus Godzilla. Kong versus God. What? I said it, I know. Just leave it alone. That's all I ask of you. That'll be 10 a.m. Friday. So not this Friday, next Friday, obviously. But yeah, I think that's it. I've been rambling a lot about this, so I'm gonna let these poor people get over this. Omar looks so bored. He's like, I'm so sick of hearing
God,
Bailey's
I've
voice."
heard this 40
Me?
times.
Never. Nah.
So, you know what? Let's just get into it. We're here to talk about what was supposed to happen after we get this final vision of Snyder's. He comes out, he gives us this little blurb, this little paragraph of what the vision was going to continue to be. It breaks my heart that we probably won't see it. I liked where this story was going. As you can tell, probably if you listen to our last discussion about this movie, we very much liked it. Or I very much loved it. They very much liked it. Either way.
Wow.
I'm not trying to be nitpicky. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, you know? But we need to talk about it because it's a necessary thing. So I think we're going to shoot this over to Matt. He's going to actually read us the paragraph of what was going to come next. And then we're going to talk about how we feel about it, because everyone should talk about their feelings. You know?
Just in general, talk about your feelings, guys. So it's actually a couple of paragraphs. I found what looks like a pretty good article over on Polygon. So I didn't write this. Bailey didn't write this. I don't think Omar ghostwrites for Polygon, but if he did, he might have wrote this.
I had a part in there. Somewhere.
Did you?
Doesn't
it was
surprise
actually
me.
this article is by Austin Goslin. So thank you, Austin G, for this little write-up.
Austin G.
Yeah, we're about to base all of our
AG
thoughts off of.
Related to Ryan, probably a distant cousin.
Probably so. I hear all the Goslings are really close. All right, so I'm gonna read through this. It's kind of a gist of what Zack Snyder said would have been coming for part 2 and part 3, and what we got, the little teases in these nightmare scenes. Stop me along the way, guys, because it is a couple paragraphs, but we can kind of talk about them as we go. I think that might be the best way to do this. So Austin G starts here. He says the easiest way to understand the story of the trilogy is through what Snyder has teased in the Nightmares. The post-apocalyptic visions the Batman has had throughout Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice were entirely absent from the 2017 theatrical version of Justice League, obviously. Thanks, Joss Whedon, for that one. That was really nice.
They did. They clearly wanted to completely kill all of the vision of what could have happened.
Joss walked in. He's like, this makes no sense. We're not doing this. The visions are back, however, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Batman's not the only one who gets them. They also plague Cyborg as well. These nightmares show a terrifying future in which much of humanity is in ruins and Superman is evil. Oh my God. While these were just visions in the films released so far, they would have come true in the later Justice League movies thanks to the anti-life equation, which we get a brief explanation of in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Cool thing now is we might skip the next paragraph and flip it to Bailey because she's the only one out of all of us that can actually explain what the fuck the anti-life equation is. And
Omar
everybody,
might be
you
able
need to know
too.
what it is. Oh yeah, Omar might be able to too. It might just not be me.
I don't know that much about it. I just understand what it's supposed to be, and it's different from what I've seen it in. Like, if anybody out there has watched Young Justice, they know that the anti-life equation's a big part of the end of that of the 3rd season, but it's a person. It's not just like an equation that's like inside of the earth. So it kind of like makes it a little different in that show, but it's a cool concept for the movie because it makes it a little more realistic. Because the way they throw it in that show, it's like someone who's added in, like nobody would have known who that is in these movies. It wouldn't have made sense. So I like the way they're doing it in these movies. I think it's cool that like he finds it on Earth, so it technically is making Earth like the anti-life equation is why he wants it. But I don't know. I love that he was going to add this as like an actual part of Darkseid because it is Darkseid. Like this is what he always has been searching for. So the fact that you're actually seeing Darkseid's like what we would have gotten with Darkseid, where he's actually the villain and the actual main bad guy, and he's so great and so terrifying and so powerful. It's what this like whole universe needs. They need their Thanos, and Darkseid is their Thanos, but like slightly more badass just because he's so hard. He's like so harsh. Like it's so much darker than what you get with Thanos. But and not that I'm knocking Thanos because that was great, but it's so fucking dark and it's great, and I wanted to see it play out. And so the fact that the anti-life equation was going to be even slightly a part of this universe is amazing to me. I mean, it's not, but it's not gonna be, but
Hey guys,
I don't
you
remember if
never
we
know.
talked about it last episode at all, like if we even mentioned it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy that they even mentioned it in the Snyder Cut
I know.
because it just opens up a huge fucking door for supposed like what we thought I guess was to come. Like even if you're out there and you have no knowledge of like, okay, there was a plan for Justice League 2 and 3, but you're a fan
Mhm.
of the DC universe, hearing the anti-life equation just like you start wondering like, okay, what's coming next, and how it's going to affect the rest of the DC EU, because we still know like we're getting a lot of movies left and there's still a lot of characters, and to a certain extent they could still mess around with the anti-life equation, right? It just maybe wouldn't
Yeah,
be
in
Zack
other
Snyder,
movies maybe.
right? It wouldn't
Right.
be like Zack Snyder or like our Justice League. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
It's
Did y'all see?
interesting because it's depressing that like you get this huge he was right when he says it ends on a cliffhanger. Like
Yeah.
it ends on the biggest cliffhanger because it literally sets up the rest of the end of the Justice League.
Right, exactly.
And
I
like
mean,
we don't get to see it played out, and that
right.
sucks.
But we're
I did,
gonna.
Matthew. I did see.
About Michael
you're gonna
Keaton?
bring up? Whoops, nope.
Nope.
I was talking about the fact that they cast fucking James Bond as Dr. Fate.
Oh yeah, that too.
No way.
Yes, dude. How do you do that? How do you do that and not have
Oh.
plans for like just this like crazy future for the
Oh my god.
DCEU,
They were
right?
gonna add Dr. Fate in?
What?
Oh wait, sorry. I just said
For
Dr.
Black
Fate.
Adam. For Black Adam.
I know, but I was thinking of Dr. Manhattan because they just
Oh.
announced, didn't they just announce
That'd be
that Dr.
wild.
Manhattan is, I can't remember the actor's name, but they announced who's supposed to play Dr. Manhattan, I think in the Flash maybe? I don't know.
Wait, really?
Someone who's replacing
No. The father. Girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Host.
I'm
Oh
so
my God.
confused. I know.
Anti-life equation.
Look what the equation does, guys.
I know. I get so confused because there's so much I don't understand about what DC is doing with these movies anymore.
It just seems like they have a game plan. Obviously, we don't know a lot about it, but they have a game plan, right? You don't cast James Bond as Dr. Fate and not have a game plan for just a trilogy or an entire fucking series. I mean, the Black Adam, first of all, The Rock, right? He's not gonna just let it go as one movie. So I
Oh my
honestly
God.
have no idea. What?
Okay, time out. You said James Bond. There's a lot of James Bonds,
You
so I
thought
wasn't
Daniel
sure who you
Craig?
were talking. No, I wasn't sure who you were talking about. That's why I just looked it up. It's fucking Pierce Brosnan, who is even more exciting to me because he is my favorite James Bond, and that's probably controversial to say. I don't really care. I love
Nah, he's the best,
I
dude. I
I feel
love
like I
Pierce
hear most
Brosnan.
people say that.
Yeah.
I am so pissed. I'm so pissed
No,
because
he's
they were
happening.
setting up.
Whoa.
Because but it's not going to happen with the Justice League, and it's not going to happen with the anti-life equation in that, and that's what I want it to be involved in.
Who cares, dude? No, look, it's gonna
I
be awesome.
care.
Dr. Fate is so much more than Justice League, and I think it's gonna be
He
cool. I'm really
is.
excited to see him with the
Well,
Black
because they're
Adam
setting up the Zatanna movie, movie, right? Not a show.
movie. Yeah. But I don't know how connected he is gonna be to Zatanna. I just know that he's obviously a
I
big
guess
part
I'm
of
basing it
the.
off of Young Justice too, which everyone's going to think that's where
Yeah,
all
you've
of
got
my
to keep in mind.
knowledge comes from
Right,
with this,
you've
but
got to keep in mind Young Justice.
it's the thing I watched
eh,
recently, so.
right. Yeah, because like Dr. Fate, Black Adam, you know, there's obviously the Justice Society or whatever.
Mhm.
So it seems like maybe that's where like that's the direction they're heading in. And I don't know if maybe we ever get like a Black Adam and Shazam crossover. I don't know if we ever get a fucking Black Adam Superman movie because that would be amazing. I don't know if you guys saw the animated movie where they fight. It's like the big fight,
No,
but
I didn't see that
I don't
one.
know. So I mean,
Mm.
there's a lot of things they could still do without having to do another Justice League, without having to explore the
Yeah, which
Nightmare
is
scene.
cool, but I
Yeah.
want it.
No, absolutely.
I
I
want
mean,
this nightmare scene to play out. It's
I want to see more
literally like
Darkseid, man.
Apocalypse War, and that is
Exactly.
so amazing to me. So it pisses me off to say the
Will we
least.
ever get it? We might not.
I know. Keep reading. We need to learn more about this.
All right. Okay, so we didn't figure out what the anti-life equation is, so I'll just read that bit. The anti-life equation
yeah.
is a magical spell used by Darkseid to control the minds of most people on Earth. While Superman would normally be resistant to something like the anti-life equation, Darkseid, according to Zack Snyder's interview-driven storytelling, I don't know what that means, finds a way around Superman's willpower through his biggest weakness. What's his biggest weakness, guys?
Lois freaking Lane.
or
Lois
Kryptonite.
Lane.
I don't know. Either
The
or.
infamous
50-50.
name that is used as the key throughout these movies. What did it mean?
Yeah, because you get little flash dance going back in time and talking,
A
telling
little flash dance.
telling Bruce, it's Lois, the key.
Lois is the
I'm
key.
surprised we didn't get that
Bruce!
whole fucking. I'm surprised we didn't get that whole fucking scene in slow motion as you were saying it. Might as well.
Oh my god. I know. Yeah, we should do this whole
Lois.
podcast in slow mo in honor of Zack
Well, you
Snyder.
actually can on Spotify. You could slow down the speed. It sounds horrible, but
You could try it though. All right, so going on. Apparently, when Superman went off to fight Darkseid, so this is what would happen in like at this point now we're past everything we've seen in Snyder Cut. This is what eventually I think this would have been in part 2 of Justice League.
yeah.
It kind of sounds like that. Basically, when Darkseid would, because eventually, well, actually, okay, I said before or after the Nightmare. Obviously, not after the Nightmare, but after Justice League. After Justice League ended, Darkseid would eventually invade because he's coming. And at that point,
Clearly, yeah.
yeah, apparently, when Superman went off to fight Darkseid, he tasked Bruce Wayne with protecting her, Lois Lane. During that time, Snyder planned to have Lois and Bruce Wayne begin a brief love affair, an idea that was apparently rejected by the studio. So I
Fuck
can already
Warner
tell by
Bros, bro.
Bailey's face that she wouldn't have been into that.
I agree with Warner Brothers
Fuck Warner
only on
Bros.
this. And it's because I do not understand how you can make like Lois Lane and Clark in these movies are two of the only people that show how much like they are dedicated and devoted to each other. Madly in love. Literally feels like nothing could ever break them apart. And that's what you're supposed to feel about Lois Lane and Clark, at least in these movies. That's
Clark Kent? Yeah.
that's like exactly what they were trying to get at. It was clear as day to me. You go through seeing her go through this entire mourning process in Justice League, which is in the new Justice League, which is even more sad. It makes me feel even more worse for her. And then you want to tell me that just while he's gone saving the world, she sleeps with Bruce Wayne? I
So
think that's bullshit.
I actually 100%, like 110% agree with you. The only reason I was okay with the idea after watching the Snyder Cut was that conversation we had last episode where, Superman, it ends with Superman with the black suit.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, okay, what if it isn't really Clark that came back and it's more Kal-El that came back and like he loses a bit of his human side and maybe she just kind of to a certain extent loses that connection that she had
Mhm.
with Clark, right? And maybe that's why she needs a new fuck buddy, and it's a
And I
human,
mean, if he portrayed that well and that was what they went with, I
right?
guess I could
It would make a
understand it. I
bit
still
more
don't know if I
sense,
could
right?
get
You wouldn't,
behind it, but I
yeah.
could understand it.
No, I
But
get
as
that.
of right now, I'm like, fuck that. That's so dumb to even try and say like a woman who, if she's madly in love with this guy, just because she's around some like rich, like handsome
I mean, that's not why she sleeps
do-gooder,
with
it
him.
doesn't mean she's gonna fuck him. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
Bruce
I
Wayne
just
has a certain charm, though.
Dude,
Like,
He can
I
win
love
everybody over.
Batman. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying she
oh
wouldn't
my god,
because she has Superman. So
yeah,
I just am saying like it's one of those situations where I don't think it's right and I don't think that's what the characters need. And not only that,
right,
but I'm
right,
sure Matt's about to read and say how this is like what also puts a spiral out of control
yeah,
for Superman if he even finds out, which again what they're planning on doing with this, I don't think it's necessary to have both. Like, and I guess I should let Matt finish reading it because it's going to explain a little more, but they don't need both driving things. Like, she doesn't need to sleep with Bruce. Or if she doesn't sleep with him,
okay.
I don't know. She doesn't need to date Bruce. So,
She definitely slept with him. Wait, have you not read the story?
no,
Story
no,
time?
I did, but like, I kind of was just saying maybe if he changed, because it sounds like he wasn't for sure gonna do this or not. So
Oh, I
maybe
gotcha.
because I know the whole thing too. I mean, you just keep reading that because I know it's coming up. So
I just to go on record, this obviously, yeah, I don't. This seems weird to me if they would have done that. But this whole universe feels weird enough to where I think it could have worked. Obviously, like it's weird because I love Batman too, and I love the way that Clark and Lois's relationship is portrayed in this. So it kind of would have sucked to see it, but again, this has all been so weird, and I think that's when the stuff has shined the most. That if done correctly, I could have been about it, but
yeah, no,
alas.
I get that. I just
Um,
don't want it.
so where did I? Okay, so yeah, so during that time, Snyder planned to have Lois and Bruce begin a brief love affair. An idea that was apparently rejected by the studio. Eventually, Darkseid would realize that Lois was the key to Superman's willpower, and he would come to kill her. Once Darkseid arrived, Bruce hesitates in a crucial moment, and Lois dies, opening up Superman to the powers of anti-life and ushering in the apocalypse. So basically, this is what I really like about it, though, and I guess you don't really need the whole like romantic aspect for this to work because Clark would just tell Bruce to do it anyway. But I guess that's why there was kind of like a complication there, is because they had this romantic thing going. Maybe they could figure something else out to replace that with. But what do y'all think this would have been? Like, what moment of weakness? What would Bruce hesitate for? Like,
I
they
honestly
would
don't
fuck
even
up.
know.
It sounds like he basically has to protect her in a way, and we'll get to it later. But he would have had to like jump in front of something, like, you know what I mean, like jump in front of her to like stop her from dying, and he doesn't do that. Like,
It
will
it sounds like he either had the option of saving her or saving like the rest of the planet, knowing that if he stayed alive, he could obviously help in saving once again the rest of the
Right.
planet.
And not
And that's
understanding yet that she
that's
would be
actually
that
a
important.
right. And that's
Right.
actually, but no, that's a great way to look at it because with other animated movies that have been involved in shows, they play around with that aspect a lot. Like the whole, you have to let the world be conquered now because you will be the only person who can save it later. And because it's like, if in all these visions and nightmares and all these people that have magic powers and can see the future and stuff like that, there's a lot of that goes on in DC. And that's a reoccurring thing I've seen, at least in a lot of the animated stuff. And it's you you know this is going to happen regardless. Like something is going to happen regardless. So you have to let the bad thing happen. So 2 years later, it's your time to take everything back and you can reverse time. It's
That's
like,
it's exactly like Infinity War and Endgame when Doctor Strange
yeah,
just lets shit hit the fan
exactly.
or the fan.
Tony,
Exactly. Like it's
there
like,
was no
and
other
that
way.
almost seems like that would literally be the same thing that Bruce goes through. Just like
Yeah.
less like fingery.
Well, I think there were fingers involved, but
Oh,
There's
oh
always fingers
anyway.
involved.
shit.
um, okay, so it goes on. Darkseid's apocalypse would have looked a lot like the very last vision in the Snyder Cut. Batman, Cyborg, Flash, and the ragtag band of heroes/villains would have ventured
Ragtag.
through the ruined cities, dodging Superman and trying to figure out how to fix the world. Oh, and the Joker is there too now. Although this wasn't a part of the original plan. The idea with that, says Deborah Snyder, was Zack being like, listen, I've always wanted to do a scene with Batman and Joker, and this is my last shot at doing it. I want to take it now. So that is another little damper on thinking that anything might ever come from this. Even, and we've already known that, but this definitely Zack Snyder approached the Snyder Cut as this is it. If anything else happens
Yeah.
beyond this, it's a true miracle. And we thought we already saw miracles, guys. So,
well, it's that, and I'm pretty sure I read something too about how, yeah, because he knew this was like the last shot he had at the movies, whatever, and this was like his, like epic grand, I don't know, exit, I guess. He actually, and I don't know how true this is. I didn't really confirm it or like watch the scene again, but apparently there's a scene with Lois and a pregnancy test, so he kind of like included that as a,
yes.
you know,
Yes. Like
as
And
an
yeah,
idea.
isn't that what everyone's talking about?
well, yeah, the when she opens the drawer next to her bed, you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a pregnancy test in there, and I think this article goes on to basically confirm that would have been Clark's son. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
Clark's.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
Again, all the Bruce stuff is axed from this. Like it just basically couldn't have
Yeah, yeah.
happened. Like Warner
So
Brothers was
obviously
like,
he
you
knew
can do
he
everything
wasn't
you
gonna
want,
make
but
it just like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Or if he was like that, he was gonna have to change that because the studio
Okay.
was really
yeah. I
against
got
that.
you.
No
Um,
lie.
go
I'm
for it.
sorry to cut you off. It's just this is like the one part I recently saw a storyline of, and I'm about to spoil an aspect of Injustice. So if you haven't played that game, it's really old. But if you haven't played the game and you really want to and you don't want to know anything about it, don't listen to this part. But I've been playing through the first Injustice, and so I'm seeing for the first time. I knew nothing about that game, and I'm seeing for the first time that Superman is tricked into believing, granted, this is all because of the Joker, but Superman is tricked into believing that Lois Lane and his child are other people, like villains or whatever. I can't remember which exact villains, but he's tricked into believing that they're not them. So he kills both of them. And then he finds out that it is Lois and his son. So the only reason I'm even bringing that up is that if you're bringing his son into this world, what if like that is the storyline they ended up following or something similar along the lines of that? Like if they ixnay the whole Bruce thing, like and they had to come up with a
Well,
different thing because of that.
I
so
I
guess
just think that'd be
currently,
cool.
in the comics, okay, so Superboy was always I forgot his actual name, but Superboy was and manufactured by Lex Luthor, right?
Hmm.
He's half Lex, half Clark,
Half Lex, half Clark,
right?
right?
So right now, currently,
Ooh.
what's going
It's
on in the comic
Connor.
books?
Connor's his
Yes, kind of,
name.
Kent. So currently, what's going on in the comic books is there's a new Superboy. It's Jonathan Kent, right? It's Lois and Clark's kid.
Interesting.
Yes. So
I
yeah,
did
because
not know that.
they have two kids. It depends really what storyline you're following, which comic you're going with. But in most cases, it's Jonathan Kent. But there are other cases where they have two boys. It's Jonathan, obviously for his dad, and then Jordan Kent, Jor-El for his
Damn.
Kryptonian dad. Yeah.
Gotta love
That's
these
fucking
names.
cool.
Even though Jonathan Kent's a little misleading, or it's
Well,
confusing
they call him
'cause
John
you're
Kent,
like, oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
It's
but his
confusing
name's John
because
Kent.
when you said that at first, I was like, his dad
His
comes
dad,
back
right.
to life.
Johnny
Yeah, so I
Bad,
mean,
baby.
just knowing how Zack Snyder is and how I'm not gonna say true to the comics, but you can definitely tell he takes inspiration
So inspired,
from
yeah,
for
for
sure.
from comics. Yeah, so I mean, he could definitely follow what you just said, or yeah, he could just kind of like start shifting if he was to do more movies and he was to introduce his son. Maybe he would start shifting towards like, you know what, let's focus on the younger aspect of the Justice League, maybe even like Young Justice and have
Right.
Superboy kind of,
God, I'd
you know.
fucking love it.
I know, dude. Imagine.
Oh, can
If
you?
y'all can't tell, I recently had watched all of Young Justice and like fell in love with it. So because of that, I feel like a lot of my references are coming from that.
It's all she talks about now is Young Justice.
It's really sad.
Makes me so happy.
Because I'm like, it's all I care about right now.
That's awesome, man.
Oh man. All right. So where did we leave off at? Oh, the whole Joker thing. So you know that was, and I think everybody kind of knew that going into the Snyder Cut that was all the added stuff.
Hmm.
So it's an interesting little thing that got added. But so while the details are a little fuzzy on what would happen next, eventually Batman and Cyborg would find a way to send Flash back in time to warn Bruce that Darkseid was coming and how to stop him. This scene actually takes place in Batman v Superman as we see Flash appear and explain that Lois is the key. According to some recently revealed storyboards, there's a link to this. Oh my god. Did you see this,
Shit,
Omar?
we're going down a big old rabbit hole.
I'll click that after. We got to get through this.
It's a virus.
What if it is? Your computer has been taken by the FBI. According to the recently revealed storyboards, the remaining crew may have fought Lex Luthor's Legion of Doom, while Deathstroke, who makes a
God.
brief appearance on Luthor's yacht in the film, would have been the primary villain of Ben Affleck's once planned Batman movie.
How beautiful would that have been?
God. After a bit of time travel shenanigans, Bruce would eventually realize that he needed to sacrifice himself to save Lois and the world, which is what the Joker means when he wonders how many realities Batman had the cojones to die in.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yes. Okay, because that's the craziest thing about all of this to me is that the way this would have ultimately ended is with Batman dying. And I think that is fucking crazy. Because it would have been over
It's
after
like
that.
Tony Stark, man.
That would have been the end. It would have been Tony Stark.
How beautiful of a setup is that? It's the same thing. You see, and this is why Warner Brothers blows because they didn't give
Yeah,
Zack Snyder they didn't give him enough time to be like,
didn't
let's
trust
just
him. They didn't
wait
trust
this
him. Let him cook
out.
this
Yeah,
thing out,
and
dude.
plan it out. And because
God.
he planned that so far in advance, just that
Dude,
one
yeah.
little nightmare scene at the end of his movie that has the Joker saying that shit, and then Batman at the end of all of it dies. How fucking great would that have been? Not that like I want Batman to die, but I do want Batman to die.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. We don't know Batman personally. We'll mourn him as a character. Let's see. With Lois saved, Superman would have never fallen under the spell of the anti-life equation, and he and the rest of the Justice League could take the fight to Darkseid. In the end, Wonder Woman would have led the warriors of Themyscira. Do y'all know what that means?
The mascara?
Themyscira. Wow.
It's
You know
a
what? That makes a
place,
lot
bro.
more sense. I've never seen it spelled. I was like, what is this
Dude.
place?
Themyscira.
Aquaman would have led the Atlanteans, and Superman and Flash would have led the people of Earth in a giant war against Darkseid.
Epic.
Wow.
Can you guys imagine, dude?
I can, and that's why this is hard to listen to.
Right. As an added tidbit, Snyder revealed that the reason behind the mysterious Force Majeure brand pregnancy test in Lois Lane's bedside drawer. As it turns out, the test came back positive, and she and Clark would have had a baby at the end of the trilogy. Not only that, but he would have been named Bruce, and the series would have ended with them taking him to see the Batcave and revealing the kid as the new Batman. Wow.
Holy hell in
Wow.
a handbasket.
Unfortunately,
Oh, by the way, Omar, I lied. I didn't read this.
Yeah, I could tell.
these
was
reactions are
I
genuine.
was gonna read it, and then Matt told me a little bit about it, and I was like, you know what? I really just want to hear somebody read this to me.
Unfortunately, based on everything Snyder has said since the release of his version of Justice League, and of course everything he said in the years before it was announced, it seems unlikely that we'll ever get to see the final two parts of his Justice League trilogy. Then again, we never thought the Snyder Cut would come out either, so we'll just have to wait and see. Again, this was from Polygon by Austin Goslin, so thank you, Austin, for writing
job,
this beautiful
Austin. Thank you,
article
Austin.
and letting us read it on YouTube for our own content. Um,
For
but
our
yeah,
own benefit.
so crazy. I am gonna click on these storyboards and just see, but fucking crazy. Like,
I just don't understand why. My hope is at least if Warner Brothers can get their head out of their own asses and realize that the fans of DC want to see this kind of story played out, even if it doesn't end up being exactly the same. Like, this is what DC is, and like what their big build up to their big war would be. So I don't understand why, and this is just what my dream is, but if Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan maybe team up and then finish these movies,
they already
and
teamed up.
even if it doesn't make them a shit ton of money or whatever, who cares? Because it's like exactly
Oh my
what
god, it would make
I
them
think
so
we
much
would
money.
want. So,
Yeah.
but like, just like take, even if you didn't trust Zack Snyder, I don't know, have him team up with one of his buddies, his pals.
Yeah.
Clearly, Christopher
His
Nolan is one of
friends
those. And
or
go for it.
Ben
Matt Reeves,
Affleck,
even.
honestly.
Ben Affleck. All of these
Yeah.
options. This is all just let the story play out. Even if you're not going to let Zack Snyder do it, let someone who would listen to him and
Yeah.
follow this story correctly play it out for us. Because
I
what's the point of creating a universe if not?
Right. I was reading this interesting article. It was an idea floating around. It was like an actual idea with Warner Bros. And just Zack Snyder and everything. And they're talking about if they were to, like, someone asked Zack Snyder pretty much like what his plans were.
Mm-hmm.
And, with HBO Max now being a thing, there was an idea of having the Batman instead of the movies. It would be like an HBO Max original
Okay.
TV show. But Zack Snyder goes like, I don't even know if Affleck would want to return. If he does, that obviously be cool and everything. And I'm not sure maybe with the positive feedback to the Snyder cut, like who knows, what the future holds. But I just think unfortunately, well, this is a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because like right now, Warner Bros. Has so much on their plate, and theoretically, they can be successful with what they already have confirmed coming out. They don't really ever need to revisit the Justice League, have Justice League 2, 3, even the anti-life equation. Even though we really want to see it. They have so much planned, and they have so many other movies like Aquaman 2, Shazam, Black Adam, Wonder Woman 3, Flash. They could theoretically, like I said, succeed doing other stuff and just kind of shifting the focus, which sucks for us because like they don't really need to have a Justice League 2 and 3. They don't need to have a follow up to Zack Snyder's trilogy. So I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think especially I don't know if y'all saw today that they looking at the numbers from HBO Max streaming, like the Snyder Cut fell somewhere beneath, like it
What?
didn't get what Wonder Woman 1984 got, and I think
No
that
way.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that is just the kiss of death for
What?
this because that is
Okay.
direct
Well,
comparison to what they're doing without Zack
Like
Snyder.
their own content
Yeah.
being put
So
out.
well,
Yeah.
real quick though, Zack Snyder's cut or whatever. It's not a month. It's not time like Wonder Woman was, right?
it's not, and
Because
so it's
a lot of people probably saw Wonder Woman because they knew, okay,
for sure.
they just had a month to. Because I mean, that was a shit movie. Like I go back on everything I said
Oh my
that I
Dude,
liked
god.
about the
really?
movie.
Hell
No,
yeah.
like, look, I mean,
Y'all are
fuck that movie.
insane.
Because I feel the same way.
Oh
Like,
man. Oh
and
man.
It's trash.
it makes our
I'm
whole
so sad.
discussion of that movie probably
Cancel me, cancel it, cancel that fucking movie.
completely
I don't think we ever
irrelevant now.
posted that episode, honestly. I
We
think
didn't.
that was
No,
the very first test, guy. Yeah,
thank
peeling back the
God.
curtain. That
Well,
was the
we
first
talked
test we ever
about
did for
we
Press
talked
Play Again.
about that episode. We talked about that movie, and we all like liked it. I think I was the most kind of like about it, but I still enjoyed it, and I said I enjoyed it, and I did enjoy it
No, you hate
to
it.
some extent.
Y'all both
But it
said
was
you
more
hate it.
just goofy and
Every single opinion you've given so far on every DC movie we've watched has blown me away, has completely surprised me. Not what I expected at all. I expected you to walk out of Wonder Woman convincing us to just rank it as our
Guys, it was
number one.
good.
hell
And
no.
that's not what happened. I love it.
It's just because I've fallen down this giant little bunny hole of
Bunny hole.
discovering so many amazing things about DC that I never knew. And although I may be late to the party, I've always been a Batman girl, but I've never like looked more into shit because I'm apparently an idiot. And then once I started doing that, I was like, oh my God, this is all amazing. And now I know exactly what these movies and characters are supposed to feel like. So when you go see the movies and they don't feel like that, then you're just like, okay.
It's like,
I
okay.
mean, because I loved, like I said in the review, I freaking loved Wonder Woman in Justice League, in the new Justice League. I
Mm,
thought she was phenomenal. So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know,
Um,
but we're getting sidetracked.
so the storyboards guys got taken down. Big shock there.
Oh,
They're all gone.
damn.
But there was an article posted on CBR.com where it kind of highlights it real quick, like the gist of it. This one's even shorter than what we just read. But it's basically saying, according to storyboards, Luthor would have recruited previous DC Extended Universe villains Dr. Poison, Black Manta, and Ocean Master, along with Captain Cold and the Riddler, who would have already debuted in The Flash and The Batman, respectively, by that point.
That's
So that
awesome.
already would have been a little crossover event. And then in Justice League 2, the Riddler would have solved the anti-life equation before killing himself in front of Batman. Later in the film, Ocean Master and Black Manta would kill Aquaman in Atlantis, while Dr. Poison would kill Wonder Woman. Meanwhile, Captain Cold would attack the Flash in Central City, and Cyborg would intervene only to have the lower half of his body ripped off. Ripped off. As for Luthor, he'd be killed by the heat vision of a Darkseid-controlled Superman. These events would then all be undone when the Flash traveled back in time in Justice League 3.
God, they're
Yeah.
following it follows so much of what needs to be followed. And if even if it's like certain aspects are slightly different, it's like, oh my God, how are we not getting this? Uh Warner
Yeah.
Brothers, they've become the anti-life equation.
It
Those
really bothers
bitches.
me. It
They
really
have.
bothers me because they obviously chose not to trust this man with a vision, right? Zack Snyder had a vision. He uses these storylines, comics, whatever you want to call it, TV shows, movies. I'm sure he's seen it all, and he uses that for inspiration. It's not like he's following it word for word, line for line. But it's just so cool because like a lot of us are fans of those comics and TV shows and movies that we obviously want to see nods like this to it, and it just sucks, man, because obviously they're in it for the money.
The
They
way
just
you sound, even the way you said it sucks, man. I was like, it sounds like Omar's tearing up.
nah, dude, it
Just
pisses me
like,
off. Like,
it's like it
fuck them.
sucks, man.
It sucks, dude. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just I'm heartbroken, and I really hope Zack Snyder just fucking continues to kill it with making movies and just. I mean, he's such a like he's the man has a vision, and Warner Brothers, whatever, fucking axed it. So
They're not
fuck
Warner Bros. To us anymore, guys. They're Warner Brothers. You're not our bros.
'em.
That was a good, legit. That
Give it
got
to me.
me.
Come on, give it to me.
All right.
Give it to me,
Oh
guys.
my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm so sorry for everyone that had to hear that. I'm kidding. It was beautiful. That was a great sneeze.
Thank you.
So yeah, I feel like with that and with the nightmare scene and what we got, the nightmare scene is this beautiful taste of what could have been, and we're not going to get it, but I am glad we got to see it because I'm glad the Joker got to redeem himself like a little bit. And because, like, I think most people can agree that that Joker that we got and just that one scene with him and
Yeah.
Batman was better than anything we saw in Suicide Squad. So the fact that we got to see that, and then we also, again, like, I hope we get Slade. I hope in something, somewhere, we get to see that character get played out because it's a cool ass character. And I don't want all of this to go to the waste.
Neither do
It's
I.
getting thrown in the trash.
I
It
think
doesn't
we'll.
deserve it.
I agree.
I think at the very least one day we're gonna get comics. And then kind of like what Omar was saying, it'd be really cool if they do a an animated show. I would love that, but
I'd be fine with an animated show, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think it would work.
I'd be
really
fine with more
well.
movies.
I would be too.
That
Which
that ain't
honestly
what we
brings us
getting.
to a question I wanted to ask you guys. Realistically, where like what do you guys want to see next in the DCEU? Do you still want to see us continue from this like what just happened with the Snyder Cut? Not with the same characters, but just like do you guys want to see it have like on a larger scale impacts like even on the Flash or Wonder Woman 3, Aquaman 2? Do you guys want to see that kind of carry over? Do you want to start shifting the focus and kind of like making the Flash like, okay, here's a Flash trilogy. This is his own story, Central City, whatever. Wonder Woman, same thing. Aquaman, same thing. But where's your head at this point?
I mean, what I want is this. I mean, it's hard to be interested in any of this stuff when you know that the actual plan for it was really cool. Like it's way more convoluted than what Marvel was at
Sure.
this point in the
Yeah.
game. Obviously, like Marvel's what 25 movies deep now, a couple of TV shows, and we're just now breaking into the multiverse. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder had us going into this shit in movie number 3, 4. Like it was gonna happen fast, and so that's convoluted to me. But I mean, we all kind of like that stuff, and comic books can get like that. So that's what I want, and it's hard to look at these movies now and they just don't feel as important. I mean, the movies have gotten
Right.
better, like admittedly. Like Shazam feels like a better made movie than some of these movies, but they're not as interesting to me anymore.
Sure.
I mean, they feel safe. And the crazy thing is, even them playing safe and being better, they're still not on the level of just standalone MCU movies. So again, I just don't think they're playing to their strengths when they do this stuff. Like, you can keep making these movies that are going to get you 60s on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're going to be like, oh, look, we're finally not getting 20s and 30s anymore. But it's like, is that what matters? Like, and I guess it does, but not to
You're
me.
definitely hitting it right, though, because I will agree with that. I totally think now knowing more about DC, and honestly, Zack Snyder just opening the eyes of a lot of people of where these stories could even be going, because Shazam's involved in it too. It's when you go back and you think of Wonder Woman and you think of Shazam, it's like very clear they're just trying to make one tight-knit story for that character.
Yeah.
And not like, this is how it connects to an entire universe. And so because
Right.
of that, it makes it feel so less important, like you're saying. I completely agree. Shazam doesn't feel like even slightly involved in any of the shit, but he can be, and he is. So like,
Right.
why not let it connect in some way?
Also,
Why
Superman's
with
in that
Wonder Woman,
movie.
both Wonder Womans, why not connect it? It makes no
Right.
sense to me.
I agree. I mean, I think if this was the original plan, maybe I'd be more about it. But the fact that now it seems like they're resorting to this because of how fans reacted to the first two like Snyder movies, it just kind of seems like they're taking the easy way out and they're
Yeah.
going back to this where they should have done this first, right? We should have gotten a couple movies for each character first and then had this whole Justice League thing and trusted Zack Snyder with the whole fucking thing. Let him do it. And I think we would have gotten something pretty epic, something really grand. And instead, they let him do that because obviously, I think Zack Snyder could care less, or I don't know how that goes. Could care less or couldn't care less, with the MCU, right? He had a
Yeah.
vision, he was executing
Yeah,
it.
he's
Whereas
not
Warner
looking at
Bros,
it like
they
that.
obviously care a lot more, and they were trying to compete, trying to rush things. And then when it seemed like they failed, now once again they're resorting to this plan. Which, yeah, I mean, I just hate that that's the route they're taking.
Because it's working
Because
for
of like
them now.
feedback and shit.
They're not. I mean, they're
Yeah,
not
like
the
fuck them,
MCU,
man.
but they're financially they're
Right.
doing fine with these movies now. So I think that's what we're gonna keep seeing.
Financially.
And I think
What a
That's the key
joke.
word.
yeah,
Now we're gonna get
I know.
freaking Venom 2. And it's like,
What?
I was thinking
that's
of
the most
Sony, my
random
bad.
thing.
So confused.
I was thinking of Sony. But hey, we are getting the new Suicide Squad. That's another thing I think that's dumb.
That
I'm
looks
super excited
fucking
about
great.
it, but I'm just like, what is with all these redos? Like they're just gonna
Well,
redo everything that they suck
it's a
at?
soft reboot to a certain extent. Well, here's
It's
the
their
thing.
own fault,
Here's my take.
though.
They can save everything. They can fucking restart everything. They can just revamp everything through the Flashpoint, do it
They're not
right,
gonna do it, dude.
I feel
and
like
not gonna
that
do
you've
it.
got a
movie.
fan for life.
The more I think about it, I'm like, that movie is gonna be fucking hard to do. But I think that movie is gonna be really hard to get right. Like you gotta have someone who knows exactly what they're doing and has it all planned out perfectly. Because
I
that movie can potentially be one of the most amazing superhero movies we ever see. But it also could suck.
Here's what I'm gonna
So-
say. This director that I'm about to name drop, I don't ever want to see him do another DC movie ever, or even Marvel. But I would want him to do this just because of if they're going with the whole Flashpoint, time
Joss Whedon.
travel, things change. Yes, absolutely not. Christopher Nolan, this movie, and he's done. I don't want to see anything else from him. I don't even want to see a fucking Flash 2. But if this has to do with the Flashpoint, to where like we're going through multiple like
It's because you need convolution.
You just
exactly,
need
and I
a
think he
man
would
that
fucking kill
understands
it.
the fucking
I think
clock.
he would
You know
kill
what I
it.
mean? Christopher
And
Nolan.
I think it'd be
wrong.
fucking incredible. And then once again, I don't want to see him again in DC. Like that's it. Like,
Because
but obviously we're
Flashpoint,
not
He
gonna
won't
get
do it.
it only needs
You're
a
a coward,
one
Christopher Nolan.
director kind.
Just kidding. I really respect you.
It's
Yeah, my favorite director.
You're right, though. It's one of those things where it is a movie that only needs one director to be one and done. Like, you don't need a
Right.
continuation of that story. So I completely agree. I just don't know if we're
Yeah.
going to get it. I don't
I
think.
mean, no, we're definitely not gonna get it.
I mean, it's a zero.
I know.
It is. We'll
Yeah,
see
it's-
Toby before we'll see Nolan
this-
doing Flashpoint.
Are we gonna see Toby?
We will before you see Nolan
Toby!
doing
I'm
Flashpoint.
waiting.
He's going to come swinging in. He's going to be like, this ain't the right universe.
Yo, why y'all making
With
bad
that
movies
accent.
over here?
that's exactly how he's going to sound.
Oh god.
Dude, fucking, I love that, man. Do you guys want to rank the
Yes,
movies
yes,
real quick?
okay.
Since we did not do that?
We're done discussing this. I mean, we're not done. We're gonna get off air, and we're probably gonna talk more about it off air. Like we're on a fucking.
We're on the radio.
But we are finally gonna just rank these freaking movies because I think we said we would at some point, and then we didn't. So now we're gonna do it.
You should totally
And
go first. Fucking blow us away.
Oh my god. Okay.
Blow us away.
I'll go first because I'm doing this on the fly because I haven't really thought this through. So be nice to me, everyone. Don't come for me. So
Real quick, are we going quality wise, or our favorite?
I think just what you
Which
like.
one you enjoyed more?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it by favorites.
Okay.
Like which ones I enjoyed more. I'm gonna start with 3 and then I'm gonna build up. I guess that doesn't work though because like there's only 3. Anyway,
We can read it
so
out.
number 3, and everyone's gonna freaking crucify me for this. Number 3 is Man of Steel.
Fuck that. I knew you were gonna say that. I fucking knew it.
And I want to make this incredibly clear. I like all of these movies, and I think they're all great. So having to put them in an order is hard to do, but you're making me do it, so I'm doing it. No one's making it do it, me do it, but like I'm doing it anyway. But Man of Steel is number 3. I enjoy that movie. I think it's great. I think it's fun. I think it's the most forgettable for me personally. For me personally, Omar's going to Omar quits.
I'll see you, man.
Number 2 is BVS because upon rewatching after I have more knowledge on a lot of DC stuff, found it so much more enjoyable. And although I still have issues with it, I would watch it again. When I first watched
Okay.
this movie, I never thought I would willingly
This is
watch it
true.
again.
We had to
And then
force it.
obviously my number
You
1
did.
it's
What is
Zack
it?
Snyder's Justice League. And I don't think that will change over time, if I'm being honest. So like with these 3 movies. If we get more and they're somehow amazing, obviously that changes. But with these 3 movies, I think Zack Snyder's Justice League will be my number 1 out of this little trilogy that we have.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I am happy to say it. I enjoyed the
It's-
shit out of that movie. And although 24 minutes of it is in slow-mo, I wouldn't trade it for a thing.
I love that.
So I love how Matt's just like trying to be slow-mo. So
Look at
yes,
this, Warner
that
Brothers.
is
You got a
my-
girl right here who said that her favorite of all of these is Zack
is
Snyder's Justice
Zacky's.
League.
I
The
know.
Snyder cut.
So that's my little list.
It's exactly what I expected, but I was hoping you'd blow me away anyways.
Damn.
That's all right.
Wow.
That's
Okay. So who wants to go next? Put yourself out there.
Matthew?
Okay, so my list, in terms of my favorites, Snyder's Justice League is number 1. I think it's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I think
I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't.
It did. You
I really
served
thought it was gonna
it's
be
it's a
VVS.
wild movie. It's a crazy movie. It feels weirdly disjointed and stuff at times, but to me the movie is like it going full Zack Snyder, and that's what I like. That's because I accepted this. I mean, I came to terms with this years ago. This is what these movies are, and that's what I wanted to see. And I think this is like him fully going at it. So I love it. Sorry, Omar. Number 2 is BVS in terms of just what I
was like, I
love.
think Omar's getting nervous that we're gonna put Man of Steel.
I just want more Batman. You know, there's no
No,
the
it's fine.
truth is
Whatever.
there's no
Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
in Man of Steel. I'm sorry.
Right.
Man of
cool.
Steel. I stuttered.
Well, technically.
And then Man of
He's
Steel is
there.
number 3. But here's what I'll throw you a bone, Omar. If I'm going like best made, Man of Steel is number 1 with a fucking bullet, and then it's BVS, and then Snyder
Yes.
Cut. Well, actually, that's so tough. I never got to say this on the other episode, but the biggest thing that let me down about Snyder's Justice League, and I don't even want to open up a can of worms, but I don't think it earned 4 hours. Like it doesn't tell enough story in 4 hours, which is crazy to me. Because like you look at movies like Lord of the Rings, they in 3.5 hours it feels like you needed the whole time. I feel like everything that happens in in the Snyder cut
This is a
could
great
have
fucking
happened in
segue.
2 hours.
Yes.
Which Joss Whedon tried to prove
Yes.
that, and he didn't really do it very well. But
Mm.
I still think somebody could have in a weird way because there's just so much going on, and we've talked about the slow mo and everything. But
Yeah.
so for that, I think that that maybe BVS is actually a better made movie, just with some stuff I don't like in it. But anyway, Snyder Cut's my favorite.
Okay.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah.
So number 3 for me, and it's exactly for the same reason you just said. I don't think Zack Snyder's cut, the Snyder cut. I don't think the Snyder
Is
cut needed to be 4 hours at all. It could have been just as good if it was like 3 hours. Let's say even 3 hours and a half, whatever. And I know you guys think, okay, half an hour isn't like that much of a
No, I
difference,
mean
No,
but
it's
it
a big
is.
deal. It's a big deal.
yeah, it really is. I mean,
A
24 minutes
4-hour
of fucking
movie.
right. So in terms of quality and enjoyment, Zack Snyder for me is number 3. I loved it. I wasn't super high on it just because, like I said, I just felt like it dragged out a bit. And obviously we kind of already knew where it was heading. But yeah, no, I mean I super loved it. It definitely feels like Zack Snyder's project, right? In terms of enjoyment, next would be Man of Steel. I
You're
super love that movie. Well, hold
lying.
up. In terms of enjoyment,
I'm
yes,
shocked by
yeah,
that
yeah.
still.
Man of Steel. Let me tell you, here's the thing. And obviously, BVS is number 1 in terms of enjoyment. In terms of quality, Man of Steel is always going to be number 1.
Okay.
I think Man of Steel is one of the best made, not superhero movies, one of the best made movies ever. And the reason
Damn.
I'll stand by that, and I actually even enjoy and appreciate a lot more. I recently, maybe yesterday or the day before, read an article where Zack Snyder pretty much said Man of Steel is one of the only movies he's made where he didn't feel like he needed to have a director's cut for it because it was the one movie he actually got to do everything he wanted, exactly how he wanted to do it. And
Damn.
I just love that because if you really watch it again and again, it's like Zack Snyder, right? It's like BVS. There was a couple of things I don't know how much Warner Bros was involved, or like I guess they were trying to set up for a larger universe. I don't know how much say that had in it, but there's a couple of things obviously that I don't like about it. Whereas Man of Steel, I mean, there's not really one main thing I can complain about. There's not one like I love how everything feels, how everything looks, and the fact that it's like what starts this universe. I think it fucking killed it. So for me, it's number 1 in terms of quality, and I super fucking love that movie, and I just think it's great.
But your
So
number 1 for enjoyment is
enjoyment, yeah, obviously, dude, you
BVS.
get to see fucking Batman, and I mean, dude, he's my favorite Batman. I mean, I love watching the movie. It's very enjoyable,
That was hard for me
and
to hear.
is it though? Is it?
Well,
But yeah,
yeah.
no, I loved how Affleck looks in the suit. I loved his Bruce Wayne. Like I said when we originally talked about the movie, even though Wonder Woman was in it for 7 minutes, I thought those 7 minutes she was a complete badass. And it definitely set the vibe for what was to come. Not just Whedon's bullshit. I mean the Snyder cut.
I love you,
And
Joss.
obviously hero movies. Yeah, I love you, man. But yeah, so yeah, that's my
All
rankings.
right, all right, all right. Look at that. We have
Hmm.
one different. Me and Matt had the same listing, but I feel like it was for different reasons.
It
So
was,
at least take
but
that
we
with
got
a
there.
grain of salt, if that's the saying. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I think we can finally wrap this up. I think total we have like talked about this movie for like 2.5 hours, which is like more than half of the movie, which is crazy to think about. But
Deserved it.
yeah, this
Deserves
is
more.
this has been a event for the world to partake in, if that makes sense. And I've enjoyed every step of the way. Like with this whole thing, with the whole non-believing that this was ever going to happen to actually getting it on HBO. Like I don't know, it's just as crazy to me. So, I've been super enjoyed this. I cannot wait. Honestly, talking about this is getting me so excited for the Batman movie because I just want
Yeah, I know.
more. I just want more DC.
I agree.
Give me all the DC. Inject it into my freaking veins. That's what I want. So,
Yes. I love
but
it. I love the energy.
anyway, we can wrap this little sucker up. Don't forget, you people out there, if you have any opinions on whatever your favorites are. If you want to give us your list, comment it, tell us about it. We can talk to you about it because we love talking to everybody about all this stuff. Talk to us about anything we missed, any theories you may have of what's coming up, because we'll talk about that with you too. I love theories for this kind of shit. And then also don't forget that we got another new movie coming up, which we're super excited to talk about too, and that's going to be Kong vs. Godzilla, and that'll be next Friday at 10 a.m. So be there or be motherfucking square. And Tuesdays, Falcon and Winter Soldier, or what did you want to call it? The Falcon and the Winter series? I don't know.
Podcast,
Oh yeah, the Falcon and the Winter podcast.
I think.
The Falcon and the Winter
Even you forgot, I
podcast.
love it.
Anyway, that'll be on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. and we're gonna talk the shit out of those episodes. So it's super exciting. So yeah, this has been really fun, guys. I've super enjoyed that, and stay super. That's the same one I always say.
Hey, where'd your bed go?
Oh, I sleep on the
Whoa,
floor.
What the fuck?